Figuring out money within the context of marriage, it can be challenging, and I think it takes a lot of intentionality and care over time. So let me see if I can save you some trouble and give you 5 money conflicts or mistakes to avoid so that your marriage can thrive. And make sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode with a friend. All right, the first money mistake that a lot of people make that I want you to avoid is not sharing a bank account. Now, listen, this is my number one area that I get hate for. People hate this so much. But listen, this is, to me, it's like a symbol of how you're viewing your marriage. And when you have separate accounts and he's doing his thing, paying these bills, you're paying these things and that bill, and you're Venmoing each other, like at that point, you're not an integrated part emotionally, financially, spiritually, all the things. Like there is something to be said when you choose to stand in front of your family and friends and say, I am choosing to get married to this person. That means you are choosing not to live a single life. You are choosing to do life with another. And that means I have found when you can do that on a deep level, and again, that is emotionally, spiritually, everything. When you are a team and you see yourselves and trust your spouse and you can be so connected on all these elements of life, you have a deeper, more connected marriage. And money, that's not an exception. It is part of it. And the more you see each other as one, I think the faster you pay off debt, you build wealth, but also this level of knowing like I'm locking arms with this person and we're doing this life together as a household. So regardless of whose paycheck hits the account, if one of you works and one of you doesn't, or one of you makes more and one of you doesn't, but it hits the same account under a household, what are we going to do as a household together where we both have a say, we both have a vote? How are we going to take this money and further, what we want to do in life, how we can be generous and help others and all the things. So I think you just miss out a lot when you start to divide parts of your life and say, well, this part's mine and that part's yours. Now, I will always say, if there is an addiction that's not being addressed, if there is abuse, if there is something going on that you need your own money, 100%. I took a call on the Ramsey show last week and told a woman, drive to the bank right now and take out half the money in your account, you and your husband's account, and put it over, because he just got home from jail because she was being abused. Like, it's horrible. So I'm like, you have to protect yourself in certain situations, and those are very real. But if those are not happening and you're just kind of the run-of-the-mill marriage, I'm telling you, when you say, hey, we are one in every aspect, gosh, it is so big. And that includes even your checking account. All right, mistake number 2 is hiding money. So this can look different, some small things, some big things, but the outcome is the same. So whether it's like a random account that you kind of keep over here and you don't want your spouse to see and you just kind of do your own thing. Maybe you have a secret credit card and you're like, okay, I just have this over here and I just kind of buy what I want and figure it out over here. Like whatever it is, even down to like, I know we laugh about it on Instagram and all of it of like, I'm going to hide the Target bags because I don't want my husband to see, all of that just like level of secrecy. Again, some small, some bigger. It just can create problems. And I think there is something to be said about just true honesty. And if your husband has a problem with your Target shopping bag, then we probably need to talk about that. Like, are you spending too much? Does he need to loosen up and like not be a control freak? Like, I don't know. But then that ends up being a marriage issue. And that's what I love about when you are on the same page with money. Things come up in life and it actually reveals parts of your marriage that maybe you can work on to get a healthier, wholer marriage. All right, number 3, not making big purchase decisions together. So again, big purchases, and that can be a different dollar amount depending on where you are financially. So again, have a dollar amount that you both say, hey, we're not going to spend more than X without talking to each other about it. And this is just helpful because things will come up in life where like, oh my gosh, like, there's this thing that I want or we need, whatever that looks like. But when you can be on the same page again with bigger purchases, that is so helpful. Like the car commercials, which I know are commercials and it's TV and it's probably not even true, of like someone going and buying a car for a spouse and the spouse not knowing, like, we don't want that. No. If we're buying a car, we probably both need to know together if we're buying a car. So remember, big purchases you need to do together. All right, before I share number 4 and number 5, those mistakes, I do want to tell you about one of our sponsors, Delete Me. So those holiday promos can be great, but with every newsletter sign up and coupon code, you're giving your data away. And that personal info can easily end up with data brokers who sell it to spammers and scammers. And that is why I recommend Delete Me. The Delete Me privacy team digs through hundreds of those data broker sites to remove your data and keep it gone, which means fewer spammy texts and robocalls. And right now you can get 20% off at joindeleteme.com/Rachel with code Rachel at checkout. So do it today. Again, that's joindeleteme.com/Rachel, code Rachel. All right, the fourth mistake is thinking that your financial beliefs are the only way. So listen, there are some big values that you want to agree upon, just honestly to make life easier when it comes to money, meaning like we would like an emergency fund. Having some money saved seems like a great idea. Like if both of you are on the same page, that's great. Because some people are like, I don't care. I don't need any money saved. And if that freaks you out, like we need to know like, hey, saved money is smart. A debt, for instance, right? Like maybe you're okay with like, I don't care if we have this kind of debt or that kind of debt and your spouse is the same, whatever. But if you want to live a debt-free life, like that is a value system that you want to talk about. Giving, like all these things, right? The big things you want to be on the same page. But under those umbrellas, things can look a little different. So like Winston and I, we are different. And I do think spending money on a nice hotel is worth it. And he may look at the price tag and be like, this is insane. We could be buying X, Y, and Z with that. And so we're going to have different ways of viewing life. But if I just stay in my lane of experiences and what I want when I spend all the way, I do miss out on another opinion, another way of maybe doing things. So it takes a level of humility, but in those details of how your spouse may view something or want to do something and you're the opposite, which is going to happen, when you can actually put yourself in their shoes and understand where they're coming from, it just creates this like cohesive, not only communication, but a sense of like, oh yeah, we are different and we can both celebrate each other's differences. And I actually may learn from you if I allow myself to be humbled and just say, hey, I'm curious what you think. And if your spouse does the same thing, like when Winston's like, you know what, that was good. That was a great trip, which he said to me recently. And I was like, I know. All right, number 5 is not being aligned on future goals. So where do you want to be? Now, I'll say this about goals. Winston and I sometimes are hit or miss depending on the year. Sometimes we have big goals that stretch over like 3 years or 2 years. And then once those big goals have been accomplished, I have found in 16 years of marriage, like we kind of take a break. We may have a year where we're like, oh yeah, we're going to just be in the routine. Like we don't have this like big thing that we're chasing. And then after a while, you're like, okay, what is our next thing? So I think it's a natural part of the rhythm of life to say, okay, let's look forward. And so for Winston and I, it's a fun thing that we do. We do a dream date every year where we just say, if money was off the table, what do we want? What do we want our life to look like? And so what that ends up being actually has been in the past for us were actual things that we implemented in our life. So whether it was, building a house, we had that like 10 years ago. That was on our dream list. Eventually a pool, certain trips with the kids that we're starting to want to check off the list. Like things like that you're like, okay, let's just dream big. And it may not happen in that calendar year or even the next 2 to 3 or 4 years. But at least there's something to be said of like, okay, we are working together towards a collective goal where we're wanting our money to be. And when you're on the same page with that, it just makes life more fun, I'll be honest. Because if you're off doing this thing and he's off doing that thing and there's no alignment, like there's a part where like, oh yeah, you missed out. Like it's fun to do things together, right? So again, you're naturally going to have the things that you enjoy that your spouse might, but this bigger picture of goals overall, getting together and working, off the same sheet of paper, if you will, it is so, so helpful. So money and marriage, when you combine the two, again, it can be so difficult. So we actually created an event. It's been a couple years old now with Dr. John Deloney and myself called Ramsey's Money and Marriage Getaway. And we have another one coming up. It is in February of 2026. And Dr. John Deloney and I, we spend all weekend with you and your spouse. And it is so fun. It usually starts on a Thursday night, all day Friday and Saturday. And this is one of my favorite events that we do. There's just something about getting in a room full of like-minded people, not perfect people. And that's the other beautiful thing is marriage is hard. It's messy. It can be exhausting. Like it's a lot. And it's really fun and exciting, right? So you get both ends. And so we get to talk about these things, these important parts of our marriage. And money obviously is a big part. So that's kind of the portion I take over the weekend. And John takes the marriage portion. And we just have a great time. So I'll put a link down below. See if you can get a spot before they're gone because they usually sell out. but we'd love for you to join us in Nashville. Now, in the meantime, did you know that a while back I shared the 3 best marriage tips my husband Winston and I have ever received? Well, I did a video on that. You can check it out right here, or if you're listening on podcasts, I will leave a link below. All right, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love.